Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Cataldo Leone. How are you doing today, Cataldo?
Mark, I'm doing great. Mark, how are you?
I'm awesome. It's Friday, beautiful morning. Get to have an awesome conversation with you. Everything's good.
It's
So
Friday the 13th, by the way.
it is awesome day. Oh yeah, I think every day can be good. Every day can have its challenges. So
Depending on how you
um,
look at it, right?
It is. And it makes you really appreciate when you have good times when you've had some challenges.
Yeah.
Cataldo, where are you located at?
I'm in Middletown, New Jersey, East Coast. Jersey
Okay.
Shore, the Jersey
Awesome.
Shore, for
So
everyone that's
is
out there.
is that where you grew up?
I am actually born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I took
Brooklyn, okay.
took a journey as I was a kid with the family over to New Jersey, briefly actually, and then moved back to New York. It was kind of a back and forth thing. And
Okay.
yeah, New Jersey is my home for the last 24 years.
Awesome. I've never
Yeah,
been to
yeah.
that part of the country, but I should because I've been getting a lot of people from that area, and it's just so if I went to where you at, what are some tourist things that I you would recommend that I do there?
Touristy things. Oh man, being here so long, Jersey Shore is, I guess, the one. There's
Yeah.
some pretty cool restaurants that you probably saw on TV shows to
Right.
add. Seaside, I mean, it's kind of the norm. Seaside, Wildwood, those
Okay.
areas. Long Branch is actually built up very big.
Okay. I've heard of
Yeah,
Long
so
Branch.
that's kind of been
So
the touristy. Asbury Park is a
okay,
little
yeah, I've heard that too.
yeah, Asbury Park's been up and coming, which is crazy because it wasn't always that way. And we'll kind of, I'll touch on that later as the story progresses.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. So what do you do in New Jersey where you're at?
So I own Trinity Nutrition Lab. It's a supplement company and a clothing brand.
Okay.
I also have eBay and Amazon as a kind of side hustle to that.
Okay.
I buy out stores that shut down. I buy their inventory out and bring it on to eBay and Amazon. So kind of
Wow.
multifaceted, operating two companies simultaneously under one roof.
Okay. Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's been fun, and I think
So
they were both kind of passion projects while I
awesome.
was working full time, and they just kind of flourished into where we're at now, which is the full time operation of both businesses.
That's awesome. So how like
Yeah.
eBay, what got you started with the journey on either one of those or both of them?
eBay. So I'll go, I guess, as far back as the eBay Amazon.
Okay.
eBay was kind of like a fluke deal where I was working full time and they were giving me where I was working was they were giving me kind of like free gifts from LG and these other Sony, Samsung, all that
Right.
stuff, and it's stuff that I wasn't really using. So I'm like, what am I gonna do with this?
Hmm.
So I took it, and a friend of mine at work was like, "Why don't you just put it on eBay?" I'm like,
Right.
eBay. I mean, I have an account. I just never really dabbled with it.
I hear you.
And I'm like, cool, let's try it. And literally within like hours, it sold.
Whoa, that's
And I'm like,
fast.
okay, this could be something, right? So
Yeah.
the internet, like this could go wherever it wants to go. And so um, months later, it was probably around the holiday time, I was getting free gifts again. And I'm like, let me just pop it to eBay. And it
Hmm.
sold. And I'm like, this could be a
Got to
game
do this.
changer for me working full time and doing that. So at around that same time, like Toys R Us was a staple
Mm.
company like that I shopped off when I was a kid, and
Uh-huh.
unfortunately they were shutting down. And I think that was like one of
Yeah.
the first biggest companies that I've bought inventory from, and I probably from store to store to store, I just kept going with a van from store to store, and my
Oh,
uncle would
really?
come
Wow.
out and bring his van out and we would run to the stores. I probably threw a good 25, $30,000
Whoa.
somewhere around that ballpark by the time I was done with that Toys R Us haul. And I
Uh-huh.
went, from liquidator to liquidator, and it
Right.
became a thing. And I'm like, you know what? If that's how it works, like, why not buy out another store?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
at
See
that
what
time, the
works.
second store was like Justice, I think, fast
Oh,
forwarding, or like Lord and Taylor. It's like one of
sure.
those stores, and I went in, talked to the liquidator, and it was pretty much a very easy transaction to come up with thousands of units of product. And so that's kind of the
Awesome.
journey of that start there.
Very awesome.
And then at that time, it was me leaving a network marketing company that I was actually part of. And I kind
Really?
of branched off of that to fulfill my other passion, which was the supplement side.
Okay.
And being a supplement company and a brand owner, that's kind of like something that I was in my younger years was like, I wish I could be like in like one of those like bigger box stores with like
Sure.
my logo on a product on the
Yeah.
shelf.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I ventured into that journey, and that was more of a up in the air project, not to know where it was going, but it was like, let me just start it and see. And so it was legit one product. It was a
Wow.
pre-workout product, one flavor.
Okay.
Everyone thought I was crazy, and
Well,
so I started on my journey. I was like, let me
yeah.
start and see where it goes. And that was the beginning of, I would say, both of those companies.
That is
But
awesome.
the Trinity side, I had some, I guess, motivation to. It was the thing. I
Okay.
was at the time, I've always been into the gym as much as
Right.
I don't go that often. I've always
Yeah.
been like, I love going to the gym when I can get there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's
Me
always
too.
that like you need to get there every day thing. But when you're growing a brand, and
Yeah.
until you
Time
grow
is.
a brand, you don't know how hard that is to kind of
Yeah.
budget and allocate
Yep.
time into all of that, especially when you want to grow it fast enough.
Yep.
But
Yep.
two big people that I kind of um, give that credit to were in the fitness space, and one
Okay.
owns a clothing brand, the other is a Mr. Olympia, 4-time
Really?
Mr. Olympia. So
Oh.
it was those guys going from the 2017. This is where that Trinity
Okay.
started. 2017, I went over to the Arnold in Ohio.
Okay.
I was following the clothing brand owner, and I guess I'll throw his name out there. Christian Guzman was one of my bigger
Okay.
influencers. Followed him on YouTube and his journey, and meeting him in person was pretty cool.
I
And then
bet.
they had a meetup actually in New York City. In,
Okay.
I think it was Washington Square Park. They had like a college tour meetup. And so I
Right.
went. I'm like, I'm in Jersey. Why not just travel over to New York,
Exactly. Yeah.
hang with them? Got a chance to meet that whole crew from
Wow.
Texas. And I'm like, if they can do it, I 100% could
Yep.
build a brand. And so that kicked into the supplement slash clothing side of things. And talking to Jay Cutler was like, dude, just go for it, just do it.
Yep. Yep.
And that was it. Like, I came back in 2017 of March, and in May of 2018, the brand started.
Which is really fast. I mean,
Yeah,
that is. So the name Trinity. Where did the name come from for your?
very weird. I mean, I guess there's no like pie in the sky reason why I started the name, but funny enough, I was actually on the way to work one morning thinking of
Okay.
the company and kind of conceptualizing like what would the whole brand look like,
Right.
and stumbled upon a van right next to me. It was a truck,
Okay.
and it had
Okay.
Trinity Solar, and I'm like, Trinity, the
Uh,
Holy Trinity, the Trinity Three,
right.
like
Right. Exactly.
maybe I can build that story off of that, where it was the Holy Trinity, or the Trinity Three, I should say, for the gym:
Exactly.
pre-workout, ECAs, protein,
Right.
right? Pre, intra,
Perfect.
post, and I'm like, that could be the three staples of the brand, and that's kind of how it started. It was a play on words. It was a thought of what we're doing in the gym,
Right.
and then it came about with the inspired, motivated, and determined, which is the three pillars of the brand. So get inspired,
Cool.
get motivated, get determined to build not only yourself but to build your dreams, conquer
Ah,
what you're trying to accomplish and set out to
yes.
do. So
Love
that's how
it.
that whole thing came about.
That is so cool. I love that. So for products, how do you have to have somebody test them? How do you come up with products?
So I actually have a manufacturing company. We
Okay.
we test and flavor, try out the flavors of what I like,
Okay.
and we go off of that. Back in the start of the company, it was just trying out manufacturers to see what they had.
Okay.
and we stumbled on this manufacturer, and I've been with them ever since.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really
they've been
cool.
helping me out. They've been, when other massive companies are ordering very, very large bulk of
Mm-hmm.
items, my minimums were pretty decent with them.
Okay.
That was
That's
like
good a
that
lot.
was the brand that I wanted to grow with. Yeah, and they've been great ever
Sounds like
since.
sounds like a win-win. It sounds like they
Yeah,
really were
yeah,
trying to help you out, especially
yeah. They
to
were like,
start.
"Hey, if you win, we win," sort of thing. And
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know
I
understand
use
why
I
people
use
in
my charm, and
there
I
you
told
go.
them, listen, I'm a new brand,
Yes.
and when you start a company, you're small, right? Like there's no
Yep.
massive
Yep.
overhead unless you got very large pockets of people investing.
Yep.
It was me. I bootstrapped the whole way through. I started with my own cash from work, and I needed to put that money strategically to work for me in the business. So it
Yep.
was not ordering very large quantities of product, because then it sits on the shelf, right?
Right. Right.
So I used that money wisely, and then we just
Yes.
brought some T-shirts. Like these tees were pretty simple. It's our logo,
Yeah. It's
and
cool.
people were like, "You have T-shirts? You have like hoodies to rep the brand?"
Yeah. Go have merch.
And I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't even have them at the time. I was like, "Yeah." So like we started printing, and then it just kept parlaying and growing from there, which is weird because when I start looking back on the whole
Right.
story, I've come from like 13, 14 years of clothing retail.
Really? Okay.
Then
That's
I
cool.
worked at Express, I've worked at the Children's Place. Those are like my two primary, and it was actually structure at the time when I started
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're
into
talking about.
Express, and then that sort of thing. So
Right.
it was a lot of years of clothing retail, but then I started, and it just clicked one day. I'm like, I worked in clothing, like a sweatshop, really,
Uh-huh.
before I even started retail clothing. Back in New York, I was in like high school, and a friend of
Right.
mine was like, "Hey, I'm working for this guy. We're cutting like fabric for his manufacturing company. You want to come lay and cut fabric?" And I'm like 15, 16 years old, laying and cutting fabric in like a basement of this building.
Wow.
And I started thinking back. It was actually I was in um I'm trying to. It's up in Woodbury Commons. Is
Okay.
the It's an huge outdoor mall up in upstate New York area.
Okay.
I'm walking around there, and I'm like, I used to work here selling the fabric that I cut. It was in Brooklyn. My mother would drive me up to like Woodbury
Right.
Commons, and we would have a little kiosk. The owner would have a kiosk, and I would sit there and sell product. And I'm like,
Wow.
this started from like high school to the clothing side. So it's kind of the full circle of coming back to clothing.
You were laying the foundation for what you're doing today. You
So
didn't even
weird.
know it, but yeah, I love it when
So
it works that
weird.
way too. Yeah,
And I
that
wasn't thinking that when I started the clothing side. It was a
nah,
supplement company
I can believe that.
turned into the clothing side.
Yep.
And the supplement company actually was supposed to start out as a energy drink liquid
Okay.
can formula.
Okay.
And it's weird that we follow sometimes the path of other people's words.
True.
It was a guy that I spoke to that owned a manufacturing company, big YouTuber as well, and we got a
Okay.
chance to talk. He's like,
Okay.
"Don't do liquid formulas. Get into the powder formulation. It's easier to inventory. It's easier to warehouse.
I can
It's
see
easier
that.
to ship. It's a lot
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
to ship."
Yeah. Because
So
liquid.
I had really switched. Like I got prices for the canned energy drink,
Okay.
like $150,000 like investment plus. It was like,
Wow.
hey, we'll start you off. You got to get the cans, you got to get the formula, you got to get the testing. Like, it was a big to do, and I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe the powder formulation is a way to go, and it,
Yeah.
it exploded bigger than I could think. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
always that's awesome when it works that way.
yeah,
So how many
yeah.
products do you have in your
Right
supplements?
now, if you're looking in the background, I kind of have some of this like set up here. So if we
Uh-huh.
take photos, whatever, it's here. There's the whey protein right back over here. It's our
Okay.
cinnamon cereal flavor. There's the
Awesome.
vegan protein chocolate.
That's
Below
looking
is
good.
you'll see the Matrix pre-workout there, which is the
Okay.
pre-workout that we started with, just not that flavor.
Okay.
And then there's two other ones. There's two BCA flavors, a watermelon and a lemon lime flavor. So
Nice.
in total, we got five products.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So if somebody comes, where can they find your products?
So they go online. Most people are finding me at the gyms these days, as we're
Makes sense.
doing, table events and meeting and greeting our customer base and growing the
Okay.
brand.
Okay.
But they can find me online, trinitynutritionlabs.com.
Okay.
They go
Okay.
right online. They can shop. We do some pretty decent deals from time to time. And if you're ever watching my YouTube videos as we're growing the YouTube channel,
Right. Right. Well,
I
yeah.
tend to throw in some special discount codes for
Always
people
good.
to shop.
Very, very
It's
good.
like in the middle of like the video somewhere, so it's like if you didn't hear it, you didn't get it. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. So if somebody goes to your website and they're not sure what they need, how do you guys direct them, or how do you do that? You
So
know.
there's a little bit of a back, I guess. Um, I, I don't know how to say it. I guess instructions
Okay.
or somewhere where they can go and they can look at the description of the. That's it. Description of
Okay.
the product
Okay.
and what it does. The label pretty much stands for itself. Whey protein. It's going to help build
Cool.
muscle.
Okay.
Feed the muscle to build it bigger. Your pre-workouts, obviously, your energy caffeine source going to help you with a pump,
Right.
give you some more focus to the workout.
That's
So they're
awesome.
pretty standard as you start going into like the bigger products of like intricacies. That
Right.
obviously takes some time to give the customer base the
True.
sales of what it does and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
the bullet points.
So what is next? What are you developing more products, or what does like a couple years
Yeah,
down
yeah.
the?
So the products are the working. You can't really see the next side of this here, but we do have a ton of products clothing wise that we're
Cool.
developing. It's a weird story. To good and bad. I guess a positive and negative to everything.
Okay.
So COVID kind of changed a little bit of the trajectory of the business.
I can see that.
Supplements were a massive side for us going into
Okay.
COVID, and I
Yeah.
lost a ton of inventory to COVID after all that. We had, I don't know if anyone knows, but New Jersey, New York were like probably the one of the hardest hit areas of like gym openings. And so we
Really?
were shut
Okay.
down for quite some time, and it was more of the at home workout. So no one was
Sure.
massively buying supplements, especially if you didn't know the brand. It's
Right.
kind
Right.
of, we were just getting started in 2018 until like 2019, 20. And
Yeah.
so the brand wasn't massively known to where it was like that was the go to staple product.
Sure.
So clothing started taking over because people were
Yep.
looking for clothing, whether we were going that or not. People needed clothing to get dressed, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
starting out after COVID was over and we opened back up to New York and New Jersey with the gyms, the clothing took a bigger side of the business. And so that's
Okay.
been a huge part of the growth right now for Trinity is the clothing side. So labeling the supplement side and the clothing together, I'm not sure if that was a good or a bad side of things, but it definitely got the brand awareness more out
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
with both
Yeah.
supplements and clothing. And so
Yep.
people loving the logo, people are loving the
I do
fabric.
love your logo. Your logo is awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's nice
I
and big. We're getting like this is pretty big on the t-shirt, but we're getting people that not everyone loves big logos. So we have the little logos on some of our
okay.
most of our stuff now, aside
Okay.
from big t-shirts.
No,
Yeah,
I think that is so awesome. I mean,
and we're male female by the way on the clothing side. It's
okay.
pretty much a 50-50 split right now on male and female, and going in actually I would say a little bit more men than women, and it depends on where the outlet is. Like
I
men
could see
tend to
that.
shop more in the in person,
Yeah. Yeah,
women
I could
tend
see
to
that
shop
too.
more of the online side. So it's kind of like a split there of where we tend to go more towards. Like if I'm doing more gym events that month, then we see a little bit more on a spike of the men's side, which
Makes
is which
sense.
is fine. I'll take either one. We're cool with that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No,
I
I
get a
mean,
chance to meet the customer. I get a chance to network
yeah,
with them. And the
that's
biggest thing with the gym events is you get feedback instantly from the customer.
true. Yeah, that's worth a
I
lot.
allow them, I allow them to try anything on, and so when
Okay.
they try it on, they're able to kind of feel the fabric, see how it fits on them, and the
Yep.
biggest thing with clothing is you want to feel confident in what you're in.
Amen.
And so if
Yes.
we can make that person feel confident and feel a lot better about themselves going into the gym, um, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a big.
No, that is. So when are you going to do a gym event in Nebraska?
We're not out there yet. We got to conquer one
Just a little
person.
ways away.
I have actually asked that question. It's funny you're asking me. I've asked that question for someone that's rapidly growing a gym circuit out in the East Coast area.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that he said was we need to conquer our backyard first
True.
before we can start conquering other states. And that
That
was huge. And I'm
definitely.
like, you can't grow, you can't, try to conquer the world at one day. So
Yep.
we're intending these days to be on the East Coast side, New York, New
Yeah.
Jersey. I'm
And so
heavily
many
right
people
now
from.
into Staten Island is a big transfer for me, jumping into Staten Island. And they've been so supportive on all the
That's right
gyms that
there.
we're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, so how far? I mean, gym events. Do you just go to gyms you know, or do they invite you, or how do you do gym events?
I want to say the invites are there. It's more of a fight.
Oh, is it
There's
okay?
quite a fight of managements on different
I can
locations.
believe that. Yeah.
They all want me at their locations, and like they're like, listen, you can live with us here and be here all day. And as
Hmm.
much as I love that opportunity to do that, I need to be able to bounce and
Yep.
spread the wings of the company a little bit bigger than one location. But for the
I can see.
most part, we do member appreciation days throughout the gyms are
Nice.
cool. You get a chance to chat with the members and hang with them. But I do gym events predominantly at night, like four to
Okay.
seven
Makes
p.m.,
sense. People
where
off
it's a
work.
big
Yeah.
bulk of the people.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, most of it's invites. I kind of just send a text to the managers, hey, can I drop in? And it's the best part about the business. It's my schedule.
Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
don't want to go that day, I just don't go that
I hear
day.
you. Yeah, that's
That's
one of the perks. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
have you always been entrepreneurial?
I have so big stem back before even like the clothing and all this other stuff.
Uh,
And you're in Nebraska, so I got
yep.
like a similar Warren Buffett story actually.
Yeah,
Which
Warren Buffett. Yeah,
he's not far from you probably.
he is not. No, he's not. Even
Yeah.
though I've been by his house. Yes, have not been
So
in his house.
if you know his backstory to Warren
I
Buffett,
do.
he actually started selling golf balls to the local golfers
Yep.
in his area. I started probably a little bit before that, or like a lemonade stand when I was younger, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Getting into the golf ball side. I actually, when I was in New Jersey, younger when I first moved out there,
Okay.
lived on a golf course, and my backyard was pretty much one of the lakes or ponds, I guess you would call it, on the
Wow.
golf
Okay.
course. And so the
Uh,
golfers would hit the balls over, and I actually loved fishing and catching frogs, I guess, and turtles.
awesome. I
So
love
I would
that.
have like those long nets, the long
Right.
poles to grab them out of the pond, and a few friends would and my brother would just hang on the lake, and we would
Uh-huh.
fetch out golf balls and wash them off, sell them back to the golfers, and
Yeah.
then on like a Saturday morning, we would go and we would sell golf balls and sodas to the golfers in
Hey,
in
sounds
the
like a
morning.
great deal.
It was great. It was great. And then it's from there. I think that was like one of my first like profitable business ventures of my own. And then obviously went into delivering papers as I got a little bit older.
Okay.
The Daily
Yeah.
News was a big thing in New Jersey, and so I'd go out and throw papers to people's doorsteps, and you
Nice.
know
That is
come
really
around like a mob boss on a Saturday Sunday with the book and try to collect my money. And that was kind of the start of like that entrepreneurial type
that is
setup. Yeah.
that is so
And then
awesome.
branched into, as I got older, moved back to Brooklyn. At around like 17,
Okay.
uh, 16, 17 ish.
Okay.
I got the door opened to me from my uncle actually that introduced me to someone that owned a deli
Wow.
and grocery store in Brooklyn,
Okay.
not far from my high school, not far from my house. And I started working there. I was like, you know what? Let me grab a job locally. And it was cool after school gig. And like 3 months later, she's like, hey, like looking to shut this down, close the store.
Oh
And I was
wow.
running it really on my own at that point. I would come
Right.
to school and kind of change of the guards from the earlier
Yep.
shift, and I
Sure.
would be pretty much on my own until she got there at like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And Mike, you're not going to get unless you ask.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I said to her, "Hey, what if I ran the place on my own, took full advantage of the whole thing,
Oh, how
and do
cool.
everything on my own, like grab the keys to the rent, to the inventory, to the
Wow.
milk guy coming in to paying him." And so I took over that store, and that's where high school fell apart.
Oh, yeah. I can
kind
see
of,
that. Yeah.
I was never a school person, and
Yeah.
so when that opportunity came to me, I took full advantage of it, and it
That's
was
like,
great. Like money was coming in at 16, 17, 18. Money was
just, yeah.
like you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe. And you know what? It wasn't like a morning type thing. It became an all day thing for me.
I
So
can believe that.
school wasn't a priority. I would be dropping, classes and leaving early and getting
Yeah.
in trouble from the parents and the
Yeah.
dean's calling my house. Your son hasn't been in school in 3 weeks and that sort of thing. But it was always I wanted to chart my own path, and I didn't think
I hear
school
you.
was that path for me.
Yeah.
And as much as I would, as much as anyone else, I would double down on stuff that I love.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just think that the dinosaur era was a very big part of my future, and so that wasn't a thing for me. School was kind of a second job, I should say, and so I focused most of my time on that store. And we were open, like, if I can recall, like 6 a.m. I would go grab bagels from a local bagel store, walk, and at
Right.
the time I
Right.
wasn't driving, so it was all walking.
Right.
I would walk, several dozen bagels to the store, open up, have someone
Cool.
there at 7 while I went to class, and half the day I would cut out and go back there. And it was open till like 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh, wow. So
And
most of the time it was open.
it was crazy. And at that point, I'll never forget the turning point in how I run businesses.
Uh-huh.
The turning point at 18, when like that month before, which is funny we're talking because my birthday is 2 days from now, but
Oh,
my 18th
really?
birthday, I was literally like that week, or like not even like a month leading up to that my 18th birthday. I was in the
Uh,
hospital like every other day.
oh, wow.
Every other day. It was crazy. And I couldn't see. I couldn't move my arms, legs. I couldn't walk.
Wow.
Lights were hurting me. It was like so bad to the point where they had no clue what was going on. And
Oh, my gosh.
18th birthday, I literally went to the hospital, got rushed in the emergency room, and the
Wow.
doctors were like, I had my girlfriend and my mom, my sister there, and the
Right.
doctor's like, "Hey, we don't think he's going to make it past a few hours."
Huh. Wow.
And
So, oh,
my mother fell to the floor, like passed out, like it was bad. And
yeah.
I had to make that decision. It was more of my body was taking a massive toll at that age of
Wow.
not sleeping,
Yeah,
stress,
no, good.
stores
Yeah.
open all the time, like and
Right.
so months after that I kind of just parted ways with that. But that was the first major store, like, entrepreneur in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my space. Yeah.
I mean, so when 18th birthday sounded like it was memorable.
It's a long time ago.
Oh, so did you get, if you got, how'd you get better from that then? Just quit doing that job, or how did you improve
So
from that?
weird and oddly, they had no clue really what it was. Like they were thinking a million things, but they didn't really
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know
Uh-huh.
the technical terms, but there was something that they gave me that was kind of chemical imbalances throughout the body. I don't know if that's a thing, but
Okay. Could see that.
there was some kind of stuff that they performed, and like 12, 15 hours later, I like woke up from like being like so tired, and they were like, "How do you feel?" And I was great. I'm like, I just want to go home and eat. And that was like
That's
that
good.
whole thing really
Really.
just folded, like unfolded and folded that day. It was like they had no clue what was going on.
That's scary when they
And
don't have any clue. I
yeah,
mean,
I was like, this isn't good. But
no, it really isn't good.
the only thing I could equate to that was not sleeping, stress, aggravation, all this other stuff. So I'm like, I just gotta get rid of all that and see if
Yeah.
that kind of helps a little bit. And we were good. I opened up a
Wow.
music store after that with a lot less,
Yeah, I
a lot
love it.
less, a lot less hours of operation.
Yeah, I can see
That
that.
was that. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you've already had your life story already has been amazing. Are you writing
Yeah.
a book? Or are you going to do anything like that? Or
I do want to write a book. That's been on the
okay,
horizons for quite some time, actually.
I
Um,
I I look forward to reading that book.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
The book is going to be fun, but I think I'm having a lot more fun on the YouTube side right now, documenting
okay,
life. You
yeah,
know,
YouTube is
documenting
amazing.
the ups, the downs, the adventures, the whatever. And so the YouTube channel sort of right now is that book. It's that unwritten book that I can look back on and be like, this is what this kid did when he was younger. It's crazy, you know.
Oh, what is the name of your YouTube channel?
It's just my name. It's Cataldo Leone. If you're whoever's watching
Okay,
this,
I gotta we
yeah, it's right
definitely
at
gotta
the
check that
bottom.
out.
Yep, yep.
No, I can only wait to see what's next. I mean, it's just, oh, this is awesome. So do
Unlike
you have?
unlike a lot of YouTubers, there's I try not to document massive downsides, but every business owner is going to have some.
Oh yeah,
I try to
or
just show my everyday. Like there are the ups and downs,
there
and so
are.
you're going to go through those on whatever level you're at in business,
Oh
and
yeah,
whatever level you're at in your journey through life. It's going to be an
oh
up and
yeah,
down roller coaster.
yeah. You're leveling up. Yeah. That's when you're really learning too. Is when you have the. I mean, it's just like,
The, yep.
oh
The
yeah, and it's
dips,
like,
the dips are the learning side of it.
oh
The
they
ups are
are.
the fun side.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I like those. The learning side is like, I think I've learned enough right now. Can we go back to the
Let me get
upside
that
for
slope to go up a little bit. Yep, yep.
once?
So,
No, I mean, so you were telling me this is your first podcast. Have you ever thought about doing a podcast for your brand?
I'm gonna say yes and no. Only
Okay.
I didn't know where to turn to be honest. Like I was looking for podcasters, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know how they vet their people out, but majority of the podcasters that I was trying to get onto
Right.
was, hey, we have a long list, and then never kind of solidified anything, or hey, we charge
Really?
X amount of dollars
Yeah,
to
I've
get
run into
onto
that
the
too.
podcast. And I get it. There is some, obviously
Mhm.
monetary, cost to doing a podcast. I understand that, but
Yep.
getting on podcasts is something that I wanted to for a while, and it's weird because I don't like being in front of the camera.
Really?
I don't like being on camera. I don't like being on like it's pictures, nothing.
You
And
hmm, okay.
yeah, but hear me out. I took what I didn't like doing and did
Uh-huh.
it in a way that made sense for me. And so the
Okay.
YouTube channel is how that started. It was, you know
That's
what?
cool.
I can be on camera, not live, but I can edit and edit and edit and edit how I want it to come out. And
True.
so the
That is
YouTube
true.
channel kind of got me a little bit out of the comfort zone of
Yep.
being behind the camera, and I love it. I wish I could be recording a lot more of it.
Yeah.
But Jersey is a little weird. Like, pulling out a camera in the middle of Target sometimes is a little odd for
I can see
people,
that.
or grabbing a tripod in ShopRite is a little weird for
Yeah,
most
I
people.
can even hear that might be.
So
Yeah.
I try to do it not in a way where it's like podcast. It's not like a tripod out, in the
Right.
middle of the aisle, but I'll bring my camera out and just kind of record on my cell phone from
That's
time to
cool.
time. But I'm trying to record a little bit more on the normal side of up and downs of life.
You seem at ease being in front of the camera here, and
So
so do you
YouTube,
do like you do YouTube lives then? Have you done any of those?
I try to. No one really jumps on often enough for
Really?
me to do
Okay.
them. But yeah, I've had a few of them. Back when I first started, I started the YouTube live. I
Okay.
go on to TikTok
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
pretty often, only because we can sell product through there. So we
Yeah.
bring the customers there. They see the products they purchase.
Yeah. So do you
And then
Instagram?
IG live too. Sometimes
Yeah.
I go on IG. Yeah.
Instagram lives is where I get
Yep.
a lot of people. It seems like
Yep.
I get more almost there than anybody else. So
Yeah.
no, I think that is. So I got to ask you, with this being the Dreamcatcher podcast, what I can only imagine. What was your dreams when you were a little kid growing up? What did you want to be?
My dream when I was a kid was, honestly, it's weird. It was to be really an entrepreneur. Like
Oh,
my
cool.
parents don't come from that background. My
Okay.
family doesn't really come from that background, and it was different to me seeing that you can control your destiny, control your future, and
Yes.
not have to rely on a paycheck, which having a paycheck isn't a bad thing.
No,
It's security. Being
it
an
is.
entrepreneur is a little less secure. But even younger, I've also dabbled in real estate years
Okay.
back. So
Okay.
the real estate thing was something that was interesting to me when I was younger as well. So I'm like, if I could be an
Cool.
entrepreneur and create income, solidify that to, you know, real estate, best of both worlds.
It is.
It's the
No.
best of both worlds, and I'm kind of doing that now, looking at real estate, but it's so expensive right now in the
Oh,
markets that we're
yeah.
in. And I'm not saying expensive because people are like, well, it's not really that expensive. I guess I'm kind of comparing it to where my area was in 2008, 9, 10 till
Yeah.
now. It's a
Yeah.
drastic change,
Oh, yeah.
drastic change into these areas, and it's
Yeah.
not even just the market of after COVID. It's this area, unfortunately, where I live, got hit very, very hard by Hurricane Sandy.
Oh, really?
And a lot of
Okay.
these homes obviously got torn down, rebuilt, and they're like
Oh,
mega mansions of like 3-story houses now, not necessarily little bungalows that were here not too long ago. So the area's been changing. The demographics been changing. A lot of New Yorkers are
yeah.
coming out to New
Yeah.
Jersey. So we're holding
Uh,
off. I'm holding off right now with some real estate ventures, but we're building the brands, putting the money into the businesses, and investing in the stock market for a little. See
there
where
you
that.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not even going to ask you have stock tips. So
No, no, I got none. The way I pick stocks. You don't want to pick any of those stocks out.
okay.
You know, I'm picking
Uh,
them based upon the letters that go next to each other and if they look nice.
I love it.
This is really how I'm picking stocks these days. But
It probably works as good as anyway. So
it's not. But it's fine. It's fine for the long term. I'm okay with it. I've gained a lot. I've lost some
yeah.
as well, but yeah.
So do you do anything like crypto or any of those kind of investments?
Crypto. I'm in the cryptocurrency as well. Not a lot. The crypto portfolio is very small compared to
Okay.
my stock portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah. So you
No,
don't want to.
crypto.
You don't want to. It's just crazy times right now with
It
investing.
is. Yeah. I mean, even our real estate in central Nebraska has gone up. Probably where you guys were starting. I mean, it's amazing that because we have a lot of people moving from California to here. And it's just like, just wait until winter. This is not California. So,
Who's in California? Governor Newsom, is that the guy out there
yeah,
in California?
that's the governor.
He
Yep.
he's got to be, not to get onto that topic too much, but he's got to be the greatest governor slash real estate or realtor, I should say, for every other state because
Yes,
he's
he
out
is.
of that state so fast into
In fact,
other states. It's crazy.
it is. In fact, I used to know a lot of people in California, and I think I know one. I think one person I know is still in California. Otherwise, they've all moved out. A lot of
Hmm.
them moved to Texas, and it's like, okay, California and Texas are not alike. Texas is like a whole country themselves, and I don't know, but yeah, it's just been talk about mass exodus,
Yep.
and
Yep.
which is too bad. I love California, I love San Diego. I just love California, but I wouldn't want to live there. I'll
Yeah.
visit, but
I'm hearing that
um,
same, which is
so,
everyone's got their views on their states of how they want to run it, which is fine.
yeah.
You know.
No, and Nebraska is complete opposite of that. We are very, very conservative here. So,
Hmm.
but which is good. We do everything kind of different here in Nebraska. I mean, we're the only one that has a unicameral. We have pretty much all our utilities are public. We're
Okay.
the only state that has 100% public power. So, which is really good because our power is like 25% cheaper than the average, 25
Nice.
percent.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good start.
And even our like internet and all that stuff. I mean, we do it on nonprofit. So in December we get a check back for what is not used, which is always
Okay.
kind of nice. But yeah, we're just kind of Nebraska's. I like Nebraska. I don't like it in the winter, but
Yeah.
you guys have pretty harsh winters.
We haven't actually in the last few years.
Okay,
Yeah, it's been pretty
I'll send it
mild,
to you.
which is good. I don't want a massive amount of snow anymore. I was talking to someone recently because I feel like we may have a cold winter out here. It's been kind of getting a little chillier, a little
Has it?
faster.
Okay.
Um, but I'm like, snow was great when we were younger. I would make
Yeah. Oh,
igloos out of like in New York or in New Jersey. Actually, they would
yeah.
pile the the snow from the development into like one pile, and
Sure.
you would make igloos out of it and kind of
Yeah,
hollow it out and the sled down. That's fun when you're younger. When
it is.
you're my age and you have
Yeah, not so much.
you got snow duty, I don't
I
want
don't
to
need.
shut.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I want to go to Florida. I definitely first blizzard or first whatever we have here. I want to go to Florida. So,
I think
all
the
right.
warmer than New Jersey. Yeah, no, it's nice. Florida's nice.
Yeah, if
No,
Florida is really nice. I'll go to Clearwater. I'll go to Key West. I like Key West too. So,
yeah,
I
Key
don't
West
think
is
I'd
a
want
good
to live there in
spot.
the summer. So, what's that?
I went to Key West once down in down there, and I
Uh-huh.
did paddle boarding. That was fun.
Yeah, no,
Paddle
that's
boarding,
we actually.
that hot water that you could see the bottom on. That was a cool
It is.
experience.
It's amazing down there.
Yep.
Yeah, we went out on a thing where we snorkeled and went out with the dolphins, and yeah, that water is amazing. That it is. Don't have much for beaches there, but they do have the rest of the
No, it's
stuff.
okay. You can jump off of wherever you see water out
Yeah,
there.
you can. So, did you go out to the coral reef then?
Nope. I stayed on land,
Okay.
and it was with a friend of mine. We went down there, and this is when I was had some real estate in Florida.
Okay.
He was renting a condo from me, and so we went down. Took a trip with him. He
Uh-huh.
was like, "Let's go to Key West," and I'm like, "All right, let's do it. You're driving, I'm
Yeah,
down." So we
yeah.
went to Key West, and these are back in the days. Went to Key West and looked for hotels, and unfortunately, a lot of them were booked and solid
I
or like
I can
super
believe
high
that.
priced.
Yeah.
So me and him just slept in the car for the night.
That
Went out
works.
to him partying, just slept in the car.
If you're on
Yeah.
Duval Street, that I mean Duval Street's like spring break all the time.
So we were on the main strip over there and just kind of partied all night,
Yeah.
passed out in the car, and woke up in the morning and drove back. Yeah.
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 No, that's yeah. I like it down there. I mean, and all the chickens down there and everything, and I mean, it's
These
definitely a different.
geckos, what are those things called?
Yeah,
Geckos.
yeah, yeah. Geckos. Yep.
Geckos are all over. They were all over the car when we woke up in the morning. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely different than Nebraska, and we were down there in the winter, so it was really nice to get away. So so Cataldo, before we end the podcast, is there anything else you want to um tell the guests on the podcast what's going on?
What we got going on? We got some new. I mean, we're always growing. Some new
Sure.
clothing coming out. We got some new samples coming our way that we're testing and trying out, and launching probably in the summer of next
Okay.
year. At this point,
Okay.
so we're trying to get ahead of our. I'm trying to get ahead of myself, as in terms to seasons and
Sure.
the more you can get ahead of yourself in the clothing
Yeah.
world, the
Yeah.
easier and cheaper it gets as
Yep.
shipping is
Yeah, I can see
ridiculous
that.
right now. So we're working on that. I got some other stuff we're working on as far as with eBay, Amazon. I'm always looking to grow that side of it. Bringing on some more inventory. So just
Nice.
it's all up. We're looking at all up from here.
Awesome.
Talking to some marketing companies to help grow the brands and work
Cool.
from there. Yeah, so that's been a lot of my time sitting in meetings, I should say, or interviews right now with that.
I could
But
see
yeah,
that.
we're on the up.
Yeah,
That's what
you're
I'm
on the
looking.
move.
Yeah,
You're definitely on the move.
yeah, and
So, and
that book hopefully is going to come at some point.
I'm ready. I am ready. I would read it
We
right
got to
now.
plan someone to write
Totally.
it, but the book will come at some point.
I
Yeah,
had a guy that told me he just dictated and then he put it in, kind of wrote the book, and then he got it onto paper that way or got it into, and it's like, well, that might be a good way. Just kind of dictate your book.
yeah.
So, I don't know. That's
I
in
think
my thing.
Amazon is
What's
doing
that?
I think Amazon's doing a publishing of some sort where
Really?
you can submit. Don't quote me on this, anyone that's watching this, but from what I was told, you submit the book to Amazon. Amazon pretty much publishes the book based upon the orders.
Wow. I gotta check
And
that out.
cool little. I mean, they're probably going to take a bunch of the money on their side for
Oh, I
the
bet.
sale of the book,
Yeah.
but you getting a book published does probably
Yeah.
get costly at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. So, and
yeah.
I gotta ask you, is there a business you haven't done yet that you still want to do?
I'm tossing around a gym, but I don't think I'm going to go that route. It's way too saturated.
Yeah,
It requires a ton of income, ton of
I
money.
bet. Yeah, I can see that.
But something where I can encompass, and this is down the road, just in my mind, jumping into something where I can office my businesses, I could warehouse my businesses, and I can
Right.
have a collaborative space for people to come and
Awesome.
collaborate.
I like that.
Podcasters to brand
Yeah.
ambassadors, influencers, and kind of operate on that side. Right now, the warehouse and office I'm in, it's
Right.
warehouse office in the front, and so we're doing our photo shoots here for the
Okay.
brand. But finding something that I can get a bigger hold of and bigger photo
Yeah.
shoots and more space and stuff like that
That sounds like a really
is
good
on the
deal. A good
horizons at
idea.
some point in time. But it
I love that.
requires the businesses to grow
Yeah.
how
True.
I would like them to grow before we start putting money into that side
Yeah.
of the investor side. But
No, I can
that
see that
or
too.
and this is something like right around the COVID time. I walked a couple of spaces for a juice bar actually.
Nice.
Um, Walked some real estate, looked at some property to rent, and it was going to be. It's hard to explain if you don't have this in your area, but kind of like a Smoothie King meets Vitamin Shop GNC.
Okay. I know those.
It's like pliable or fruitable or whatever, one of those pliable spots that you may have in your acai berry bowl spots, whatever you may have in your neighborhood or area, kind of
Okay.
encompassing the smoothies, the juices, to the
Yeah.
bowls, supplements, clothing. I was gonna put my clothing brand into that,
Perfect.
and
Yeah.
um, it would be a big enough space to have like a WeWork, not like a WeWork office space, but
Okay.
kind of like a space where you can come and booth setups, I guess, you can kind of work into and work
Yeah.
from throughout the afternoon,
That sounds really
something
awesome.
like that. But the space I had was way too big for that. That was like it was close to the house. It was right across the street from a gym that
Okay.
doesn't have a juice bar, so it was kind of that space that was,
Perfect.
and it's on the highway, accessible to everybody, and
Even better.
just way too big of a space for the square footage I needed. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
I don't
you
know. I don't really know if I'm gonna go. I want to go back into a retail
okay.
space. Coming off of all that in the past, not sure if I want to go back into a retail location, but talking to a marketing company, we're thinking at some point maybe a clothing store
Yeah, I could see that. I could really see that.
coming into a very small, intimate setting of a clothing store, just so people can come and actually feel the fabric, get
Yep.
that
Yep.
personalized experience of a store,
Right.
uh, and kind of meet maybe
Yeah.
the brand ambassadors that we have as we grow. You
Yeah.
know,
I think that's very
so
good.
yeah.
So do you have somebody you look up to?
Um, in real personal life, not really. I do have some people I
Okay.
bounce stuff off of just to kind of get
Okay.
some ideas. And I was listening to. Funny enough, you're asking me this. I was listening to a podcast last night
Okay.
or yesterday afternoon. Um, Again, with the Christian Guzman side of it, he's probably one of the bigger people I look up to. And not looking up to him, but just kind of like seeing the growth of that company kind of
Uh-huh.
inspires me to grow my own
Right.
brands. But he's killing it. That company is absolutely murdering it in the space that they're in,
Awesome.
and just seeing the expansion of what they're doing definitely puts into perspective that there's endless possibilities
Oh yeah.
on any front by any
Yep.
means.
Yep.
Him,
Yeah.
there's a couple of YouTubers that I follow that I kind of look up to in their spaces to see how they're growing, and
Awesome.
that kind of motivates the hell out of me to grow my
That's a
brand.
way of doing that. Yeah. No. Do you know Dan Fleischman? He's out in California. Do you know him?
I don't. What's it? What
He does
industry?
everything. You just need to check him out. I got to meet him in actually in Vegas. He was
Okay.
with the Cole Hatter family, and I helped with their event Thrive, which was actually the Hatter families. And Dan is, I think Dan and Cole do Everbowls. I don't know if you have Everbowls in where you're at, but I know they're expanding greatly out in that area.
What what
But
what kind of company is that?
Everbowl is just health food store, health food. It's
Okay.
kind of sounded like what you were explaining, or describing where you were talking. Because it was, let's see, first time I think it was 2018. I think it was one out there, but he has these elevator Mondays where he kind of has where you can go in there for basically nothing and give asking questions, and I mean he's very open on that. Otherwise, I think I don't even know he's got $100 million club or something like that. I mean
Okay.
he's
And he's always there in that space to do that.
yeah on the when he does elevator Mondays he is, yes, he
I
doesn't
love
do them
that
every
because
Monday.
you're
So
giving back to your community
yeah,
without spending a fortune of money to give back, if that makes any sense.
yep,
And I
yep,
think the information for them is going to be a lot more valuable than the monetary side
yep,
of giving. Like, yeah, you can give your money and donate, but I think
yeah,
your expertise, especially if you're in the higher
yeah,
spaces, definitely would
yeah.
precede the income that you're giving someone,
Yeah,
which is great.
he's an awesome guy. He actually has where he lives out there. He's got a zoo, so he's
Not
done
sure I
very.
want a zoo anytime soon.
What's that?
I said I'm not sure I want a zoo anytime soon, but
I know I don't either, and I see what he
yeah,
has to do. I mean, he's got a lot of animals to feed and stuff, which is awesome. But I wouldn't want to take care of all those. And I
no,
mean, we all have our dreams, that's for sure. And evidently, that must have been one of his. So
yeah,
uh,
that's crazy.
I don't know. So, well, Cataldo, I think I'm gonna end the podcast right there. Thanks for joining us on the Dreamcatcher podcast.
Absolutely.
I look forward to reading your book and keeping in touch with you.
We'll
You're
get you
very
out a book as soon as it's produced. Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Awesome. I will
Thank
look
you for
forward.
letting me be on the podcast.
Well, thank you, and
Mark,
have a good
have a
rest of
good
your
one.
day, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome, Mark. Take care, guys.